flagship fund is the focus, and I'm sharing that with you. I'll share the breakdown with you of where we are right now. Before I do, grab a pen, piece of paper, get yourself ready to take some notes. And remember, it's a virtual hedge fund desk. So you are portfolio manager on the desk. This is our morning meeting, and then you go out there when the bell rings, execute your strategy, and be the smart money. This is our S&P Algo. You're looking at a 60-minute chart. Each bar is 60 minutes. That's what we base our algo on for swing trading. You can see this little caret showed up here. These are two different strategies, both trading the S&P. So they're both S&P algos, okay? The exit strategy is a little bit different. The entry strategy is the same. So the S&P strategy is on. This is how we trade SPXL, our swing strategy. So the alert for today is that our first swing strategy for the index is now risk on trade number 21, okay? This over here would be the swing strategy for our risk monitor. So of course the S&P is positive, okay? And so what we need to see between now and the close tomorrow are the other indexes joining, getting algo buy triggers on all of our indexes. And if that happens, the risk monitor may have a more attractive color than red, okay? So the weekly close tomorrow will be very important. For now, the process of how I like to put money to work when we're risk monitor red, what are the steps? When we're risk monitor red max cash, how do we get back to an investing posture? First step, put capital in the S&P. If we start making money on that trade and the rest of the indexes join and the risk monitor turns green, then we start filling out our portfolio because we've earned the right to take that risk based on our market exposure, okay? So I've got a number of names that I consider to be ARMR power play investments. I'm going to share 4 with you. They're at the top of my list. Risk monitor goes green, I'm going to own these 5 names and these 4 names and probably a couple more. Okay. First one is Roblox. Yep, you heard me. Roblox. Roblox. Those of you who've been with me for a while know this chart pattern. This is the new issue chart pattern that I look for. I don't buy IPOs. I mark down hot IPOs on a list to watch. I don't buy them for at least the first 6 to 9 months. There's lockup agreements, and so there's always more shares that hit the market. It's just a supply-demand issue. This is why you see hot IPOs go up big and then crash in advance of more shares hitting the market. Sometimes companies come with a secondary to raise even more cash to go after their growth potential. And so that can suppress the stock for a year or two. This is more than a year or two, but this is a nice, perfect base. This is the exact structure of past great winners. Something is building, and it's always been a power play name for me. I find it's a very compelling story, and it's getting closer and closer and closer to monetizing all of its eyeballs in a high margin way. Palantir, right behind it. I want to own Palantir. I like that setup. Relative strength's phenomenal. After the move it's had, and after all the analyst downgrades, and the stock makes a double bottom, not at the 200-day, but at the 50, relative strength is what I'm buying. When it's time to put money to work, I'm buying relative strength. Doximity, there's a bottom forming at the 200-day moving average. And I love the Doximity story because it's got nothing to do with tariffs. Tariffs have nothing to do with this story. These are medical students graduating, getting on Doximity for all the things they need when it comes to being a physician in their life. I mean, it's like a niche business that's high margin, that's leveraging AI, and the stock's down at the 200-day moving average. That's a no-brainer. We've made a lot of money on this last year. That's something that I have to have at the top of my list. And then I'm going to have CrowdStrike on there. You know, you could have a CrowdStrike, you could have maybe cybersecurity stocks. There's Bug. At the end of the day, please think for yourself. These are just suggestions of how I run money. You got to figure out risk tolerance goals and all that, execute your strategy, and be the smart one.